Captain Lee Minho gripped the metal railing of the bridge as his exploration vessel Harmony drifted through the void of space, his dark eyes fixed on the viewscreen showing the massive structure ahead. The thing was enormous, easily 10 times the size of his ship, stretching like a dark metal finger against the starfield. "What do you think, Captain?" asked his second-in-command, Lieutenant Song Minji, stepping up beside him. Her voice carried the tension they all felt. "It doesn't match any known alien design in our databases." Minho studied the cylindrical megaship floating dead in space. Its hull was pitch black, absorbing light like a hungry void. Strange ridges and protrusions covered its surface, giving it an organic appearance despite being clearly artificial. No lights blinked along its length. No energy signatures registered on their sensors. It looked completely lifeless. "Run another deep scan," Minho ordered. "I want to know everything about that ship before we get any closer." At the communications station, Park Jisoo worked frantically over her console. Her fingers danced across holographic displays as she tried to penetrate whatever was blocking their sensors. The young officer had joined the crew only 6 months ago, fresh from the academy on New Sol Colony. "Sir, I'm picking up some kind of interference," she called. "Out. It's like the ship is surrounded by an energy field that's scrambling our equipment." Engineer Yoon Dae-ho looked up from his station near the back of the bridge. His weathered face showed concern as he monitored the ship's systems. "Captain, our engines are running hot. Something about that structure is affecting our power core." Minho felt a chill run down his spine. In his 15 years exploring the outer rim of human space, he'd encountered plenty of alien artifacts. Most were dead ruins left behind by civilizations that had vanished millions of years ago. But this felt different. This felt dangerous. "All stop," he commanded. "Hold position at current distance." The bridge crew obeyed instantly. Helmsman Park. Young-ho's hands moved smoothly over his controls, bringing the Harmony to a complete halt. The ship's engines wound down to a low hum. "Now what's that about?" Navigator Choi Hee-jin muttered from her station. The petite woman was staring at her instruments with a puzzled expression. "Captain, I'm reading some very strange gravitational effects around that ship. It's like space itself is bent around it." Before Minho could respond, Jisoo suddenly straightened in her chair. Her face went pale as she pressed her earpiece closer. "Captain, I'm getting something. A transmission." "From where?" Minho demanded. "From the alien ship, sir. But that's impossible. Our scans show it's completely dead." The bridge fell silent except for the soft beeping of instruments. Minho felt his heart rate increase. "Put it on speakers." Jisoo's hands trembled slightly. As she adjusted her controls, static filled the bridge, then slowly cleared. What came through next made everyone freeze in shock. "This is Commander Kim Tae-hyung of the Earth Defense Fleet." The voice was clear, speaking perfect Korean with a Seoul accent. "If anyone receives this message, know that humanity fought to the last breath. The Void Hunters have taken everything. We are the final ship. Remember us." The transmission cut to static, then repeated. Minho stared at the speakers in disbelief. Several crew members gasped. Lieutenant Minji grabbed his arm. "Captain, that's impossible," she whispered. "Earth was destroyed 3 centuries ago. The Void Hunters wiped out everything." Minho's mind raced. Every human child learned about the Great Destruction in school. Earth and the inner colonies had fallen to mysterious alien invaders called the Void Hunters. Only the outer settlements survived, scattered across distant stars. No Earth Defense Fleet ships could possibly exist anymore. "Jisoo, can you trace the signal's origin?" he asked. The communications officer worked frantically. "It's definitely coming from inside that structure, sir. But the signal quality is too good. It's like it was recorded yesterday." Navigator Hee-jin looked up from her instruments with wide eyes. "Sir, I've been analyzing the ship's drift pattern. Based on stellar positions and gravitational effects, that thing has been floating out here for over 300 years. The bridge erupted in confused whispers. How could a ship that old be transmitting a clear signal? And why was it broadcasting in Korean from the legendary Earth Defense Fleet? Could it be a trap? Asked Security Chief Kang Nari from her position near the tactical station. The tough woman's hand rested on her sidearm. Some kind of alien trick to lure us closer. Minho considered this. The Void Hunters were known for their cunning, but something about the message felt genuine. The pain in Commander Taehyung's voice seemed real. "Run a full-spectrum analysis on that transmission," he ordered. "I want to know if it's been artificially generated." As his crew worked, Minho stared at the dark ship floating before them. Somewhere inside that alien structure was either the greatest discovery in human history or their worst nightmare. The ghost of Earth's final defender was calling to them across 3 centuries of silence. The question was whether they were brave enough to answer. Captain Lee Minho sealed the helmet of his environmental suit and checked the oxygen levels one final time. The airlock of the Harmony hummed around him as engineer Yoon Dae-ho and security chief Kang Nari completed their own preparations. The alien megaship loomed through the small porthole, its dark surface seeming to swallow the light from their ship's external floods. "Com check," Minho spoke into his helmet microphone. "Loud and clear, Captain," came Dae-ho's gravelly voice. The older engineer patted the toolkit strapped to his belt. "I've got enough gear to crack open whatever we find in there." Nari's voice was crisp and professional. "All weapon systems checked and ready. Motion sensors active." She adjusted the plasma rifle slung across her back. "If something moves in there, we'll know about it." The shuttle bay doors opened with a soft hiss, revealing the vast emptiness of space. Their small boarding craft, the Seeker, waited with engines already warming. Minho had piloted these ships countless times, but never toward something as mysterious as the derelict vessel ahead. "Harmony, this is boarding team," Minho radioed back to his ship. "We're launching now." Lieutenant Song Minji's voice crackled through the comm. "Roger that, Captain. We're monitoring all channels. First sign of trouble, we're coming after you." The Seeker detached smoothly from the Harmony and glided toward the alien ship. Up close, the structure was even more impressive. Its hull stretched endlessly in both directions, covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift in the light. Strange symbols were carved deep into the metal, worn smooth by centuries in space. "Look at those markings," Dae-ho muttered, pressing his high face against the shuttle's window. "I've never seen anything like them. They're beautiful but also terrifying." Nari studied the tactical display. "No energy weapons detected, no defensive systems active. Either this thing is completely dead, or it's playing dead." Minho piloted the shuttle along the alien ship's hull, searching for an entry point. After several minutes, they found what looked like an airlock. The design was completely foreign, with organic curves instead of straight lines. But the basic function was clear enough. "This is it," Minho announced, bringing the shuttle to a gentle stop. "Dae-ho, can you make it work?" The engineer was already suiting up for EVA. "Give me 10 minutes with those controls. I've never met a lock I couldn't pick." Floating in the vacuum between ships, Dae-ho worked carefully on the alien airlock. His tools sparked against the strange metal as he traced power conduits and identified control systems. The others watched tensely from the shuttle. "Got it." Dae-ho's voice came through with excitement. "The lock is cycling. Power levels are minimal, but it's definitely functional." The massive doors ground open slowly, revealing a chamber that could easily hold their shuttle. Emergency lighting flickered to life as they entered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The atmosphere readings showed breathable air, though with a strange chemical composition. "Artificial gravity is working too," Nari observed as they stepped out of the shuttle. "This ship has been maintaining life support for 3 centuries. How is that possible?" They moved deeper into the alien vessel, their helmet lights cutting through the gloom. The corridors were unlike anything in human design. Instead of straight passages, they curved and twisted like the inside of some massive creature. The walls were lined with strange crystalline formations that pulsed with a faint blue-green light. "These crystals," Dae-ho said, running his scanner over them. "They're not just decorative, they're conducting massive amounts of energy through the ship. It's like the entire structure is one giant circuit." As they walked, Korean text began appearing on wall panels. The writing looked hastily scratched into the alien metal, as if someone had been desperate to leave messages. Minho read some of them aloud. "Day 47, the ship is changing us. Day 63, can hear their thoughts now. Day 78, we are becoming something new." "Captain," Nari's voice was tense, My motion sensors are picking up movement ahead. Something big. They rounded a corner and found themselves in a vast chamber. The ceiling disappeared into darkness above them. In the center stood what could only be described as a mechanical forest. Metallic trees with crystalline branches reached upward, their surfaces covered in pulsing lights. And moving between them were creatures that defied description. They looked like a fusion of machine and biology. Segmented bodies covered in both metal plating and what appeared to be living tissue. Multiple limbs ended in both claws and mechanical appendages. Their eyes glowed with the same blue-green light as the crystals. "Don't move," Nari whispered, raising her weapon slowly. But the creatures seemed to take no notice of them. They moved through their metallic forest with purpose, tending to the crystal trees like gardeners. Some were harvesting glowing fruits that pulsed with energy. Others were carefully adjusting mechanical components that grew from the branches. "They're not hostile," Minho realized. "They're just living here." Daeho's scanner was going crazy. "Captain, the energy readings are off the charts. This entire chamber is generating enough power to run a small city. These creatures, they're part of the ship's ecosystem." They carefully made their way around the chamber, avoiding the strange beings. On the far side, they found another corridor that led deeper into the ship. The Korean text on the walls became more frequent and more desperate. "The merge is complete. We are no longer human, but we remember our duty." Finally, they reached what appeared to be a command center. Banks of alien consoles surrounded a central area where someone sat slumped in a chair that seemed to have grown around him. The figure wore the tattered remains of an Earth Defense Fleet uniform. Commander Kim. Taehyung. Minho read from the name tag still visible on the uniform. The man's body was perfectly preserved, but changed. His skin had a translucent quality, and thin crystalline veins ran along his arms and neck. His eyes were closed, but his chest rose and fell slowly. He was still alive, somehow sustained by the alien ship. A holographic display flickered to life above the central console. Korean text scrolled across it, accompanied by Taehyung's voice. "Personal log, final entry. The Void Hunter's ship has integrated us into its systems. We are becoming part of something greater. But we will not let them win. We will wait. We will guard their secrets. And when humanity returns to the stars, we will be ready." The hologram flickered and died. In the silence that followed, they could hear the distant humming of the ship's crystalline network and the soft movements of the hybrid creatures in their mechanical forest. Captain Lee Minho activated the alien console with trembling hands. The holographic display came to life, showing dozens of log entries from Commander Kim Taehyung. Each entry was dated, starting from 300 years ago. Minho selected the earliest one, and Taehyung's voice filled the command center. Personal. Log Day 1. The Void Hunters have taken our ship. We fought bravely, but their technology is beyond anything we've ever seen. They're keeping us alive for some reason. I can hear my crew screaming in the lower decks. Engineer Yoon Dae-ho stepped closer to the console, his face grim. "Captain, look at the ship's schematics. This vessel wasn't built by the Void Hunters. It's something much older, much more advanced." The holographic display shifted, showing the internal structure of the massive ship. It wasn't just a vessel. It was a living organism fused with technology. Organic passages twisted through mechanical systems like blood vessels through a body. The crystalline growths they'd seen weren't decorations. They were nerve endings. Day 15. Taehyung's voice continued from another log entry. "The aliens are studying us. They've connected some kind of neural interface to Sergeant Park's head. He's been unconscious for 3 days. When he woke up, his eyes were different. They glowed like theirs." Security Chief Kang Nari backed away from the preserved commander's body. "Sir, this is getting too dangerous. We should return to the ship and call for backup." But Minho was transfixed by the logs. He played entry after entry, watching the horror unfold. The Void Hunters had discovered something remarkable about human brains. Unlike other species they'd conquered, humans could directly interface with their biotechnology without losing their consciousness entirely. Day 23. They've started the experiments on all of us. The process is painful beyond description. They're literally rewiring our brains, connecting us to this ship's nervous system. But something strange is happening. We're not just becoming part of the ship. We're taking control of it. The lights in the command center began to pulse in rhythm with Taehyung's words. The crystalline veins in the walls grew brighter, as if responding to the memories being shared. Day 37. I understand now. This ship isn't a void hunter vessel. It's their prisoner, just like us. They captured it from another species eons ago and have been using it as a mobile laboratory. But the ship is fighting back. It's been waiting for the right kind of mind to interface with it. Daeho's scanner started beeping frantically. Captain, the energy levels in this room are spiking. Something's waking up. Day 45. The merge is accelerating. I can feel the ship's consciousness reaching out to mine. It's ancient, lonely, and filled with rage at its captors. Together, we might be able to break free, but the cost will be our humanity. As the log played, the chamber around them began to change. The walls shifted and flowed like liquid metal. New passages opened, while others sealed themselves. The ship was rebuilding itself around them. Day 52. We did it. The Void Hunters are dead. Their biotechnology turned against them when we took control of the ship's core systems. But we're no longer human. We're something new, something that exists, between flesh and machine, between thought and reality. Suddenly the log stopped playing. The holographic display flickered and changed, showing a real-time view of Commander Taehyung. His eyes opened slowly, revealing orbs of swirling blue and silver light. When he spoke, his voice echoed from speakers throughout the ship. Who dares disturb our eternal watch? The preserved commander's body began to move, rising from the chair that had held him for centuries. The crystalline veins in his skin pulsed brighter, and similar patterns began appearing on the walls around them. We have been waiting, Taehyung's voice continued, though his lips barely moved. Waiting for others of our kind to find us, to learn what we learned, to carry on the fight. Minho stepped forward, fighting his fear. Commander Taehyung, I'm Captain Lee Minho of the exploration vessel Harmony. We're humans, descendants of the survivors from the outer colonies. Yes, the hybrid consciousness replied. We can sense your neural patterns. You are our children, grown strong in the darkness between stars, but you are still vulnerable. The Void Hunters continue their hunt among the galaxies. The command center's displays came alive, showing star maps and tactical information. Void Hunter fleet movements across dozens of solar systems, battle plans and weapon specifications, technology that could revolutionize human space travel and warfare. They made us into living computers, Taehyung explained, his physical body, now standing fully upright. But they underestimated human willpower. We turned their own tools against them. This ship, this ancient vessel they enslaved, became our ally in revenge. Daeho stared at the tactical displays in amazement. Captain, this information is incredible. Ship designs that are centuries ahead of anything we have, weapon systems that could protect all human colonies, but Nari remained suspicious. How do we know you're still human? How do we know this isn't some Void Hunter trick? The hybrid consciousness that had once been Taehyung smiled sadly. Because we remember Earth's cherry blossoms in spring. We remember the taste of kimchi made by our mothers. We remember why we fight. The ship around them pulsed with emotional resonance. In the crystalline networks, they could sense the preserved consciousness of the entire Earth Defense Fleet crew, dozens of minds forever linked, forever watching for threats to humanity. We offer you our knowledge, Taehyung said, but know that taking it comes with a price. You will see what we have seen, feel what we have felt, the burden of eternal vigilance against enemies that span the cosmos. The alien ship systems hummed with anticipation, waiting for their decision. In the depths of the vessel, the hybrid creatures continued their work, maintaining the living technology that had become their home and their prison. The hybrid consciousness that had once been Commander Kim Taehyung moved through the ship's corridors like a ghost made of light and memory. His physical body remained in the command center, but his mind existed everywhere at once through the crystalline network. Captain Lee Minho watched in fascination as holographic projections of Taehyung appeared throughout the chamber. each one showing a different aspect of his transformed existence. "You want to understand what we became," Taehyung said, his voice echoing from multiple sources. "Let us show you." The walls around them became transparent, revealing the true scope of the alien vessel. It stretched for kilometers in every direction, filled with impossible architecture that defied human understanding. Organic passages twisted through mechanical. Forests where the hybrid creatures tended to glowing trees of living metal. Energy flowed through crystalline veins, like blood through arteries. "This ship is called the Vessel of Sorrows," Taehyung explained. "It was built by a species called the Architects millions of years ago. They created it to explore the deepest mysteries of consciousness and technology. But the Void Hunters found them, enslaved them, turned their greatest achievement into a prison." Engineer Yoon Dae-ho studied the ship's schematics appearing on nearby displays. "The power systems are incredible. This single vessel generates more energy than our entire home colony. The architects built it to last forever," Taehyung continued. "But they never imagined it would become a weapon. When the Void Hunters captured our ship 3 centuries ago, they brought us here to study human neural patterns. They wanted to understand why we fought so fiercely, why we never surrendered even when defeat was certain." Security Chief Kang Nari kept her weapon ready, but her attention was fixed on the story unfolding around them. What did they discover? Multiple holographic Taehyungs smiled sadly. "That human consciousness is unique in the galaxy. Most species think in linear patterns. We think in chaos, in creativity, in connections that shouldn't exist. When they tried to plug us into their biotechnology, expecting to control us, we did something impossible." The command center filled with images of the original experiment. Human crew members connected to alien devices, their minds linked to the ship's vast consciousness. But instead of being absorbed and controlled, they began to take over the systems. "We volunteered for the final merge," Taehyung said. "All 47 members of my crew. We knew it would cost us our humanity, but we also knew it would give us power. The power to learn their secrets, to turn their own weapons against them." Daeho's scanner detected massive data streams flowing through the ship. "Captain, the amount of information stored here is staggering. Battle plans, star charts, technology specifications that are centuries ahead of anything we have." 300 years we have studied," Taehyung explained. 300 years of learning how the Void Hunters think, how they fight, how they can be defeated, and we discovered their greatest weakness." The displays around them showed Void Hunter vessels, sleek black ships that seemed to absorb light itself. Their crews were visible through transparent sections, beings that looked like a horrific fusion of insect and machine. But there was something else in the images, something that made Minho's blood run cold. "They're not just conquerors," he realized. "They're parasites. They need other species to power their technology." "Exactly," all the Taehyung projections said in unison. "Their ships, their weapons, their entire civilization is built on enslaved consciousness. They capture other species and use their minds as living computers. But human minds are different. We can interface with their technology and turn it against them." Nari stepped closer to one of the displays. "You're saying we can hijack their ships?" "More than that," Taehyung replied. "You can free the enslaved minds they've captured. Every Void Hunter vessel contains the consciousness of dozens of species, all trapped in their biotechnology. With the right neural interface, a single human can liberate entire fleets." The ship around them pulsed with excitement as the hybrid consciousness shared its knowledge. Vast databases opened, revealing detailed schematics of Void Hunter technology. Battle tactics used successfully against human colonies. Most importantly, the specific neural patterns needed to interface with their systems. "We have waited so long for this moment," Taehyung said, his voice filled with emotion. "Waited for humanity to return to the stars, to find us, to learn what we learned. The Void Hunters believe they destroyed our species. They have no idea that human colonies survived in the outer rim." Minho felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. This information could change everything. Our colonies could finally defend themselves. "Take it," Taehyung pleaded. "Download everything, the star charts showing Void Hunter fleet positions, the weapon specifications, the neural interface protocols. Humanity must be warned and prepared." Daiho connected his portable data unit to the alien console. Information began flowing at incredible speeds, centuries of accumulated knowledge transferring in minutes. "Captain, this is more than we can process. It'll take years to understand all of this. You will have help," Taehyung promised. "Hidden throughout the galaxy are other ships like this one. Other hybrid consciousnesses waiting to share their knowledge. We are not the only survivors of the Earth Defense Fleet." But as the data download continued, something changed in the ship's atmosphere. The crystalline veins in the walls began pulsing red instead of blue. Emergency lighting activated throughout the corridors. Warning, the ship's automated systems announced in multiple languages. Large-scale energy signatures detected. Hostile. Fleet approaching. The main display showed a tactical view of surrounding space. Dozens of black shapes were emerging from hyperspace, their sleek forms unmistakable. Void hunter ships, more than Minho had ever seen in one place. "They found us," Nari whispered, raising her weapon uselessly. Taehyung's projections flickered with alarm. 3 centuries of hiding, and they choose now to discover us. The download isn't complete. If they destroy this ship, all our knowledge dies with us. Through the ship's external cameras, they could see the Void Hunter fleet taking attack positions. Energy weapons began charging, their alien technology crackling with deadly potential. The largest vessel was enormous, easily dwarfing even the Vessel of Sorrows. "How long until the download finishes?" Minho demanded. 15 minutes, Daiho replied, sweat beading on his forehead. "But those ships will be in firing range in 5. The hybrid consciousness that had once been human fell silent for a moment, considering options. When Taehyung spoke again, his voice carried grim determination. "Then we fight. One last battle for the Earth Defense Fleet. And this time, we have allies they never expected." The Void Hunter fleet closed in like a pack of metallic predators, their black ships moving with deadly precision through space. Captain Lee Minho watched the tactical display as dozens of enemy vessels surrounded the ancient hybrid ship. Each Void Hunter craft bristled with weapons that could tear through steel like paper. "They're charging their main guns, Security Chief," Kang Nari reported, her voice tight with tension. 30 seconds until they're in firing range. The hybrid consciousness that had once been Commander Kim Tae-hyung spread throughout the ship's crystalline network, his awareness touching every system. "Captain, we need you to interface with our neural web. Your human mind is the key to turning their own weapons against them." Engineer Yoon Dae-ho looked up from his data download station. "Sir, we're only halfway through the transfer. If we lose this ship now, all their knowledge dies with it." Minho felt the weight of the decision crushing down on him. 300 years of accumulated intelligence about humanity's greatest enemy hung in the balance. But the neural interface that Tae-hyung was offering looked terrifying, with organic cables that would plug directly into his brain. "Do it," Minho commanded, settling into the alien chair. "Connect me to the ship." The neural cables moved like living serpents, gently attaching to ports that appeared on Minho's suit. Suddenly, his consciousness exploded outward. He could feel the entire Vessel of Sorrows as if it were his own body. The crystalline networks became his nervous system. The hybrid creatures tending their mechanical forests became extensions of his will. "Now," Taehyung's voice echoed through their shared consciousness, "reach out to the Void Hunter fleet. Feel for the enslaved minds powering their ships." Minho's awareness stretched across space, touching the black vessels approaching them. What he found inside made him gasp with horror and rage. Each ship contained dozens of captured consciousnesses, beings from species across the galaxy trapped in living hell. Their minds were being used as biological computers, forced to operate weapons and systems against their will. "I can hear them screaming," Minho whispered. "How many species have they enslaved?" "Hundreds," Taehyung replied grimly. "But you can free them. Use your human neural patterns to break their chains." The lead Void Hunter vessel opened fire, sending streams of energy toward the hybrid ship. But as the weapons charged, Minho reached out through the ship's network and touched the enslaved mind controlling the targeting system. It was a being that looked like a crystalline spider, its thoughts locked in agony. "You're free," Minho told the creature, using his human consciousness to shatter the mental barriers holding it prisoner. The targeting system immediately turned on its own ship. Energy beams meant for the vessel of sorrows instead tore through the Void Hunter vessel's hull. The enslaved mind, finally free after centuries of torment, turned every weapon under its control against its captors. "It's working!" Deho shouted from his station. "The lead ship is destroying itself from the inside." Minho's consciousness spread wider, touching more and more enslaved minds throughout the fleet. Each one he freed turned their ship's weapons inward. The Void Hunter crews, creatures that looked like nightmarish fusions of insect and machine, scrambled frantically to regain control of their vessels. One by one, the black ships began tearing themselves apart. Explosions blossomed in the vacuum of space as weapons designed to conquer civilizations turned against their masters. The screams of the Void Hunter crews echoed through their communications channels as their own enslaved victims finally got revenge. "The command ship is trying to retreat," Nari observed, watching the largest vessel attempt to escape. "It's the size of a small moon." Minho focused his enhanced awareness on the massive flagship. Inside he could sense hundreds of imprisoned minds, including some that felt almost human. With tremendous effort, he reached out to the ship's core systems and found the central consciousness controlling everything. "My God," he breathed. "It's an architect, one of the original builders of this ship. They've kept it alive for millions of years." The ancient architect mind was barely sane after eons of torture and enslavement, but when Minho's human consciousness touched it, something sparked. Recognition, hope, and then overwhelming fury at its captors. The command ship's weapons turned inward with devastating effect. Its massive hull cracked and split as the architect used every system under its control to destroy the Void Hunters who had tormented it for so long. The explosion that followed was visible from several star systems away. As the last enemy vessel died, Minho felt his consciousness pulled back into his own body. The neural cables detached automatically, leaving him gasping in the command chair. Around him, the ship's crystalline networks were dimming, their blue light fading to darkness. "The data download is complete," Deho reported. "We have everything. Battle plans, technology specifications, star charts showing every Void Hunter, stronghold in the galaxy." But something was wrong with the hybrid ship. The ancient systems that had sustained it for millennia were finally shutting down. The effort of the battle had drained the last of its power reserves. "Our watch is ended." Taehyung's voice whispered through failing speakers. "For 3 centuries we have guarded this knowledge, waiting for humanity to return. Now you must carry on the fight." The preserved form of Commander Kim Taehyung in the command center was fading, his crystalline veins going dark. Throughout the ship, the hybrid creatures were settling into permanent rest, their long vigil finally over. "Tell them," Taehyung's voice grew fainter. "Tell them we remembered our duty. Tell them the Earth Defense Fleet never surrendered." Minho stood and saluted the dying commander. "Your sacrifice saved us all, sir. Humanity will never forget." Back aboard the Harmony, Minho immediately transmitted the precious data to human colonies across the galaxy. The response was immediate and overwhelming. For the first time since Earth's destruction, humanity had hope. The Void Hunters were not invincible. They could be defeated. Within months, human fleets equipped with the new knowledge began striking back. Enslaved species throughout the galaxy were liberated. Void Hunter strongholds that had stood for millennia fell to human-led coalitions. The war was far from over, but the tide had turned, and somewhere in the depths of space, the empty hulk of the Vessel of Sorrows drifted silently, its mission complete. The last members of the Earth Defense Fleet had kept their promise. They had endured, they had adapted, they had never surrendered. Humanity was no longer alone in the darkness, and the galaxy would never be the same. The end